Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. In this video we are looking at Microsoft Power BI, the world's leading business intelligence tool that helps us to create reports and dashboards on our data and to help us to analyze the data and derive actionable insights for business decision making. So this is the Power BI desktop window. If this is your first time using Power BI, this is how the Power BI desktop window looks like. So actually we have Power BI desktop. We also have Power BI service, which is an online platform where you can use to generate your reports and dashboards. And then also we also have the mobile version of Power BI, which is the Power BI mobile app that helps you to actually view reports in a mobile version. Alright, so this is in this video we are focusing on Microsoft Power BI desktop, and this is the interface. So it is not very different from Microsoft Excel. So we have a file option, we have the home tab, we also have the modeling, we have insert, modeling, view, optimize, and then help. So in this video we are coming to build a dashboard, and so we are coming to explore some of these tabs that we have in Microsoft Excel. Now at my left hand side we can see three buttons right here, and those buttons helps us to do specific things. So the first one is the report view. The report view helps us to actually the report view is where we develop our dashboard or our reports. So this is the space provided for the creation of dashboards and reports. And with the report view we have pages, just as we have in Microsoft Excel. As we have sheet 1, sheet 2, here we have page 1, page 2, like that. So I can add different pages by just clicking, and then I can delete the page by clicking on the close button right before the page. So in this video we are coming to use only one page, so I can delete these ones. Then we also have the data view. The data view is where we get to see the data we are working on. So with the data view, you will be able to look at your data and see what the columns are, what analysis you can do on your data. So this is where the data appears. And then the last one is the model view. The model view is where we create connections between the various data that we have. So a data can have more than one table. So we can have a table for let's say fact sales. We can have maybe the sales employees. We can have a table for geographical information. So if that happens, we will those tables together using on the model view of the Power BI desktop. Okay, so these are the functions of the three views that we have in Power BI. And then we also have, so let's go to our report view. We also have on our right hand side the data view, where we can have a snapshot of the various columns that we have in our data. So, and as we begin to do work on any data, we will see how all these things work actually. Okay, so this is what we have for our Power BI interface. So working with Power BI requires you to connect to data sources, and that is the main advantage of using Microsoft Power BI for creating reports and dashboards for business intelligence, because it actually has various sources of data, so much So let us actually look at them. So to see how you can import data into Power BI and use it in your report, we can go to the Get Data at the Home tab. You go to Get Data. So I'll click on the drop down under Get Data here, and then by clicking there, you can actually see the various data sources, the common data sources that we have. So we have from Microsoft Excel, we have from Power BI data sets, we have data flows, Dataverse, SQL Server, text or CSV file, web data, and then you can also click on more. When you click on more, Power BI will give you the various options that we have. So we have all of them here. They are so much. So with Power BI, you can connect to data sources from almost anywhere. So we have all of them here. Then we have the categories files, which is Microsoft Excel file, text file, all of these JSON, a folder. You can also import data from a folder. All of these are available in Microsoft Excel. You can also pull it from a database, a SQL database, an Access database, or any of these databases that we have available. They are so much. So you can actually explore all of these options that we have. So for our purpose, we are coming to connect to the sample data that Power BI has provided for users. So in order to have access to that data, we will go to try a sample data, as we have seen here. So this is another option to get data into Power BI. We can use the Get Data on the Home tab, or we can also use the data options shown on the canvas. So we have Microsoft Excel, we have import from SQL Server or SQL Server, we have paste into a blank table, and then we also have try a sample data set. So let's try a sample data set here, and then we can take it from there. Okay, so I'll click on try sample data set, and then we'll have the option to take a tutorial online how to create a robust report step by step. Or you can, if you know Microsoft Excel, you can go ahead and load the sample data into Power BI. So let's go ahead and load the sample data into Power BI. Okay, so built into Microsoft Power BI is the Power Query Editor. The Power Query Editor helps us to extract, perform, or let's say it helps us to perform our EDA or exploratory data analysis. It helps us to clean our data and transform it before loading it into our Power BI. So basically, the Power Query Editor is where we do our ETL, or extract, transform, and load before working on our data in Power BI. So this is our sample data. We can view the data. We can have a preview of the data by checking the box here. So this is our sample data. We have sample data here that we can work on. So actually, I don't know what, at this point we are only having a preview of the data. So the best way of to actually see the data and look at what we can add or subtract or clean and transform about the data is by going to the transform data option. So we will click on the transform data option, and then that will load our data into the Power Query Editor, where we can perform our ETL process. So this is our data loaded. So let's explore the data and see what we can remove or add. So we have 16 columns of data. How did I find out? This is 16 columns right here. And then so we have segments, we have country, we have products, we have discount band, we have units sold column, we also have the manufacturing price, sales price, gross sales, discount, we have our sales, cost of goods sold, profit, date, and then we also have the month number, we have the month name, and then we also have the year. Okay, so this is what we are having in our data. What can we do about the data? So looking at the data, we have units sold, and I can see a decimal number here which is not supposed to be so. So we are not supposed to have a decimal number for the number of units that we have sold. So what I'll do is, what I'll be doing is to go to the transform tab, and then with the data type, I'll go to the transform tab and then go to the data type, come here, and then instead of a decimal number, I'll say it's a whole number. And then Power BI will ask me if the column I have selected, I want to replace current or as a new step. So I want to replace the current one. So that will fix my decimal numbers for me. And then this discount band here, I don't think it will be useful in our analysis. So I'll just click on it, right click, and click on remove. And Power Query is actually a whole package within Microsoft Power BI as well as Microsoft Excel. And whatever we are doing here is being, whatever transformation we are applying on our data is being recorded in the applied fields. So when I loaded my data, it changed the type. The change type here means that it has detected, it has tried to detect the correct data types that we have. So when you look at segments, it's a text column, and so it has detected it as ABC. ABC means this is a text data type. Country, same, product, and the units sold is a whole number. So we have the 1, 2, 3 data type there. So it's as follows, like that. Now the gross sales is also there. We have the discounts. So let's look at the discount and see. Okay. Alright, so that is it we have here. So I think with all of these we are good to go. So whatever transformation I have done on the data has been recorded on the applied fields, which means that if I get similar data, all I have to do is to refresh my data in Power BI, and then the transformation will go through these steps, and then I wouldn't have to work on the data all over again. So that is the power of Power Query, but that is not our focus in this course. So let us close and then apply the data into Power BI. So what I'll do is I'll come to the Home tab and then close and apply. So I'll just click on the icon, close and apply. So just the data is being loaded into Power BI. So we will just so when the data is loaded, we will see the tables right here on the right hand side of the desktop app. So the data is being loaded, and then so 700 rows of data has been loaded into Power BI. So to see your data, it's still working on it, but to see your data, you go to the data view. So as I said, this is where we have our various tables in the data. So in this case, we are having only one table. So this is, and the table's name is financials. So we have it here. To look at my data, I'll go to my data view. So I'll click on the data view, and this is where our data is located. So I can have a look at my data, and then so this is my data here. This is my data here. Okay, and assuming there were more than one tables within the data, I would have come to the model tab, and then we'll make use of the IDs, the primary key, and then the foreign keys within our data to link the tables together. But in this case, this is our first video on Power BI, and so we are going to use only one uh, table data for our analysis. In future videos, we will be looking at more than one table, and then we'll see how to model our data in order to perform our analysis. Okay, so we are coming to build some dashboards, a very simple dashboard from our data. So to build the dashboard, we can come to we have what we call the visuals. So these are the visuals. Now this is the June update. The June update has changed the interface of Power BI. First, we were having the visuals at the right side of the fields side of the Power BI desktop, but right now this is where they have put it. So we will come to the home tab, and then we can click the drop down here to see all of them. So what we want to do is we want to have some key metrics within our data. So we can actually insert a let us insert a chat box, a text box, sorry. So I can actually insert a text box here, and then coming to name my so let's say financial data analytics dashboard. So let's name our report our dashboard this. So I'll select it, increase the font size to perhaps make it 32. Okay, and then let me bold it. So we have that, and then I'll also put it at the middle. That's nice. So we have that, and then we want to look at some quick metrics of our data. So we have to look at the various columns in our data, I'll just expand the table at the data field. So expanding it, I can have access to all the columns that we have in our table. So we have the sales column, we have cost of goods sold, we have country, dates, discount, gross sales, profit, sales price, and all of that. So what I want to do is I want to quickly look at my total sales, my total cost of goods sold, my total gross profits, my total profits, and then also the total units sold. So what I will do is I would actually insert a card. So I'll come to my visuals. The recent or the June update of Power BI has included a card, a special card called the multi-row card, as you can see here. And what this card does is that it can be used to actually grab all the metrics that we are trying to look at into one row of cards. So what do I mean by that? Let me just click on it. So clicking on it, we can see that we have it right here. So what I'll do is, we want to look at the sales, the total sales. So I'll just click on the total sales and drag it into the data fields as we have here. So we have one, that is our sum of sales, and then also I can also click and drag my cost of goods sold into the card, into the add data field here, and that will also add, as you can see here, the sum of goods, cost of goods sold. And then also we want to look at the gross profit, so I'll drag and drop it here. We can see that it is, so what this one does is that it groups our metrics into a single row of metrics, so to speak. Let's also click and drag the profit into the data, and that also adds our profit. And the last one is our units sold, so I'll click and drag my units into my data. Okay, now, well, this, yes, we can see that the Power BI has tried to sum our metrics for us. So the sales was summed, the cost of goods sold was also summed, as well as the gross profit, and then the sum of units sold, as well as the units sold. Now these are what we call implicit measures. They are implicit measures, and sometimes working with implicit measures can be a bit distorting. So to make our to fine-tune whatever we are doing in Microsoft Power BI, we make use of measures, explicit measures. So what do I mean by explicit measures? Those are the measures that we create ourselves, so that we can have control over what happens to the metric we have created. So I'll be able to, I'll have to undo all of these so that we can create our own measures and then use them in our dashboard. So to create a measure, I'll click on my table. Clicking on my table, I'll come to, when you click on a table, you come to the you come here, and then you will see new measure. So I'll click on my new measure, and then that will allow me to input a formula called the DAX, using the DAX function. So what I want to calculate is my total sales, and that will be equal to sum, as we have in Microsoft Excel. Here we have sum as well, so sum of sales. So we can see it there. I'll select it by using my arrow, and then I'll use my tab key on my keyboard to select it. So I'll close my parentheses, hit enter, and then I would like to insert my dollar sign, as well as a comma. So I will insert my dollar sign, as well as a comma, and with 0 decimal places. Okay, so that is fine. And then I would also want to insert my total profit. So clicking on the table once again, I will go to new measure, and then go to new measure, and then I'll say total total profit, and that is equal to sum. We are summing it. So sum of profit, I'll select it using my tab, and then I'll close my parentheses and hit enter. And then I'll insert my $sign and the comma. The comma has already been selected for me. So, and then what I'll do is I wanted to also total COGS, or cost of goods sold, and that is going to be the sum of COGS. So we have here, close my parentheses. Sorry. So we have COGS here, close my parentheses and hit enter. And then, so as we are creating the measures, we can see them here. So we have the total COGS, we also have the total sales. Okay, then I'll come back, click on my table, and then we have our total sales. I replace my total profit with my COGS. So let me calculate the total profit again. So total profit will be equal to sum of my profit. So these are what we call explicit measures. This helps us to control whatever data we have. We have control over our data. So I'll insert my $sign as well as like that. And then we also want to look at our gross profit. So clicking on my table once again, I'll click on new measure, and then we have our total gross profit. And that will be equal to sum of our gross profit. Select it, close my parentheses and hit enter, and then I'll insert my $sign, and the last one that we want to create is the total units sold. So I have my total units sold, and that will be equal to sum of our total units. Sum of our total units sold. So sum of our total units sold, I'll select that, close my parentheses and hit enter. Okay, so these are our measures, and these are the measures that we are coming to use in our card. So this is our card. Instead of dragging the sales columns in our table, I'm going to click and drag and drop my measures, my explicit measures. So first of all, I would like to look at my total sales. So I'll click and drag the total sales into my data field, and there we have it. Let me insert the $sign. Okay, that's fair enough. And then I would also reduce the number of decimal places to 0, and then I would like to look at the this is not total gross sales, it is rather total, it's not total gross profit but total gross sales. Sorry about that. Okay, so I would like to look at my total profit. Look at my total. Okay, so first of all, I would like to look at let's look at our total cost of goods sold, and then we can look at our total profit, and then lastly we want to look at our total units sold. Okay, so I can resize my card nicely. um, Perhaps resize it in this way, and I can actually format my visuals. So clicking on this, when I click on it, I can go to more options, and that displays the formatting pane for my visuals. So we have the call out values here, and the call out value, we can increase their font size to say sizable amount that is visible enough. So let me actually make it so size 20 is fine, and then we can also bolden the values so that they are visible. uh, these are matters of preference. If you prefer to add some, you can decide to add them, and you can also insert a title. And then we can call it perform let me see, you can call it quick performance metrics. So you can call it quick performance metrics. Change the fonts to I like Sego UI, so that is what I use. So you can also bold that and increase the size to say I think 18 is fine. And then also we can, let me center this, yeah. So we have a couple of options there here that you can explore. So we have the title, we have the call out values, which we have dealt with, we have the call out labels, and we can also increase the size of those a little bit, so just so it is visible. And I can even add, that is not correct, so 15 is okay. And then we have the cards. Here. Where do you want to place the card? Left or right or bottom, or wherever you want the borders to be, you can see it there. So I don't want any of these, so I'll unselect all of them. And we also have the size and style. We have them here. If you want a background, you can turn the background off. So we have these options here for our card. So those are some of the things that you can do about them. Okay, so this is for our quick financial metrics, and then we can also insert, looking at our data. Let's look at our data. Looking at our data, we can look at the product's performance by sales. So, or let's look at the performance by country. So we can make use of what we call a map. So this is the map function. But before we can use the map, we would have to define our data type. So to do that, we'll go to our data view. Go to our data view, and then I'll select my country column. Selecting my country column, I can go to data category here, and then I'll select it to be a country. It is actually a country, so I'll select it to be a country. And when I select it to be a country, the data type will change. So we can see the world icon beside our column. So that indicates that this is a geographical data. It's a geographical column. Okay, so we have that. That is what you have to do before we can be able to work with our data. And then quickly, let me also okay, that is fine. So we can go back to our reports view, and then let's insert a map. So clicking on the map, we have our location. The location here is the country. So I'll click and release the country into the location pane. Let me resize this a little. Resize it a little. And also resize this. So that is our map, and we want to analyze the countries by our gross sales. So we have the gross sales. I'll click and drag the sales into my legend. So I have the gross sales into my legend. No, it's supposed to be in the legend. I'll click and drag my gross sales into the tooltips. So we have that, and so when I hover over any of the countries here, I can actually see my total, my sum of gross sales. Okay, so here it comes. I've used my column data again, so I'll deselect it and rather use my explicit measure. So my explicit measure into the tooltip. So that is fine. And I can also add my profits. So we want to see our gross sales as well as our sum of profits. Sorry. We can also use our total profits. We can also use our total profits in our map. So we are analyzing our location by we are analyzing the gross profit and total profits by country. So we want to see the performance of each country by the gross sales as well as the total profits. So that is it, and then we can actually add some finishing touches here. I'll come to my format pane, and I'll have so the title has been generated for us, but we can always change it to suit our own. So this is, we have total sales and total profit by country. Okay, so that is not bad, but I'll change my data type to Sego UI, and then I'll increase the size to size 15 just so it's quite visible. And then let me also bold it. So we'll have that. And then I'll go to my map settings. So we have our map settings here, and we have we have the aerial, we have dark, we have light, we have grayscale, and then so you can change it. When I click on aerial, it will change the type of map that I'm seeing here. So I like you can also click on grayscale to see what will appear, but I'll go with my road because that is quite better. And category labels, I will turn it on so that I will see my countries. So the bubbles will display the country name, each country name by bubble. And then the bubbles, I would like to change the color to this dark blue here. I can change the color to dark blue, and then the size is okay. So increase the size to 5. I think that is also fine. And then let's see what we can add to our data again. Let's see what we can change about our map. So all these ones can be, you can explore each and every one of these. So I'll turn my background off, and then the size and position, you can play around this when you are working on the data. So we have all of these available. So let's continue. So this is um our sales and then profits by country. This is how much. So when I look at you can use my mouse to hover over the bubbles to see the information about Canada. So this is Canada, and Canada, we have made a gross sales of over $26,900, and we have a profit of 3 million. Sorry, we have a total gross sales of over 26,900,000, and we have a total profit of 3,500,000. Okay, then we can also, looking at our data, let's look at our data and see what information we can add. So always when building a dashboard in Power BI, we look at our data and see what questions we can answer using our data. So when somebody picks this data, they can be able to see that, okay, so total sales for this particular business or this company or this firm is this amount. This is their total cost of goods sold, this is their total profit, and this is their total number of units sold. So let me actually change the total number of units sold and add my comma separator to my units sold. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now we have products. So let's analyze our product information and see. So we can insert, go to my home tab, and then let's see the information we can insert here. So we can come to a tree map. We can actually insert a tree map here. So, and then we can put our products into the category. Let's take a look at how it will appear. And then, okay, so we are analyzing our products by total sales. So we are analyzing our products by total sales. So I'll put it into the values. So that's our total units sold. Okay, now let's format our visual and see. So we can data labels, let's turn it on. That's fair enough. Then let's increase the size a little bit. We have the total sales there. So we have the total sales there, and then we can easily increase it to 12. Okay, so now it's fine. And the display units is in million. I think that is okay. So we can actually change it to thousands. We can change it to millions, billions, trillions, depending on whatever. But this is the default is million, and I think it's perfect for our purpose. I'll collapse my data. Then the colors, we can change the colors. So a best practice in data visualization is not to use too many different colors in your analysis, as that can be distracting, and it can actually shift attention to um, other things rather than on the data. So I can go to more colors, and what I can do is select a dark blue for my first one, very dark blue. Can come here and select this lighter blue for the second one. The third one, I can actually make it darker. Yes, and then this is perfect. This is I think it's okay. And then this can be this one. So that is perfect. So the title, we have total sales and the total units sold. So we cannot actually see the number of units sold. So I can just unselect it. Okay, we can see it. Come back to my data, and then I'll get my total units sold back. Or let me actually put it into my tooltips. Okay, so that when I hover over it, I can see my data, my total units sold as well. Okay, so going back to my format tab, I can increase the size to 15, increase the data type to Sego UI, and then perfect. I think that is fine. I think that is fine. So you can actually change some things about our tooltips, and you can explore all of these options on your own. So let's continue. So we have a couple of options that you can actually look at. Let me turn my background off. That's it. Okay, so let's look at our data and see what else we can do, or what analysis we can perform on our data. So we have the date column, and then we can actually do some time series analysis here. So let's look at some of the line charts that we have. So let's expand it, and then so we have the line and area charts. We can look at um, let's click on our line chart here, set a line chart. Yes, can actually put it here. So let me look at my profit trend. So we have the date, put the date into the x-axis, and then my total profit into the y-axis. So this is how my profit is trending over the period. With the date, okay, so let me see and change my total profit by date. So we have data labels, markers off. So we have a couple of options that we can explore. We have the title, and I want to change my personal preference. I want to change it to single UI. Increase the size to perhaps 15. So that is it about my title. And then I can go to I can change my date type from continuous to categorical. That is it, but I think continuous is perfect. And you have the values. Well, it should be set at auto. Then I come to my y-axis, and change the display to millions is fine. And the title can actually say total profit, USD, enter, and then let me change the to single UI. So these are some of the changes that you can do to your line chart. Okay, some of the changes that you can do to your line chart. So change the title, you can change the lines, whether it should be solid, whether it should be dashed, and as you can see, whether it should be dashed or whether it should be solid or dotted. You can change all of these. The joint type, where they are curves, with the curves, is it, you want it to be round, do you want it to be a meter, any, so I prefer round. And then the color, so I want to change the color to this orange color. It's orange color here, that is perfect. Okay, so we have our markers here. You can decide to add markers, which I don't think is good. You have data labels. You can decide to turn the data label on, so wherever the profit is trending up and down, you can see it. You decide to turn it off. Series labels, you can decide to turn it on and see. So we all know that the line is representing total profit, so there's no need to do that. You can also insert a trend line that tells you how the profit has been trading over the years. So this is some of the quick editing you can do to your line chart in Power BI. Now quickly, let's insert another trend line so that is for profits. Let's look at the trend line for sales. So come here and then insert another trend line for sales. So I'll click and drag my total sales into the y-axis and then the date into the x-axis, and that is my sales. So as we did for the profits line, we can do the same for. So let me change my lines. The color I want it still to be this yellow. I want the line type to be solid and rounded. Can change my data label. So the title, I want it to be total sales by date. That is fine. And I want to change it to my favorites, Sego UI. Increase the size to 15. So I think that is okay. So we have that. And then another interesting thing we can do in our dashboard is we can insert some slices in our dashboard. So you can insert some slices, and to do that we'll come to expand this, and then we would have slicer. Okay, so this is a slicer. What a slicer does is that it helps us to slice and dice our data so that we can look at our data from various perspective. So let's look at that. So in the slicer here, I can come to my data and I want to slice my data by I want to slice it by segments because we don't have any segment analysis. So let me click and drag it into that. So we have channel partners, we have enterprise, we have government, mid-market, small business. So what is our performance by the channel partners segment, by enterprise segment, by government segment? So if I click on the government segment, that filters the data for me. Actually filters the data for me. See, so as I click on it, let me remove this. So whenever I click on any of these, it filters my data for me. So I can actually come here and clear selections. Okay, then lastly, what you want to do is you want to insert another slicer. So this is the slicer. You can select it directly from the tab here, and I want to insert a date, time or timeline. So let me put my date inside there. Okay, so we have our date here, and so that is the so I can by dragging these, this will filter my dashboard for me depending on the date I have selected. So on every particular date I can see the performance of our data. So that is it. We actually have a year column, so perhaps instead of the date I can cancel it and input a year data here. Okay, so we can select a particular year and see analyze our data on a yearly basis. I can also format my slicer by going to the format tab. So to format the slicer, we can click on this particular icon here, or we can go to the three dots, more options, and then go to format. So I'll come to, let me add some background. No, that's horrible. And something like this. Let me do the same for this one. Okay, and what I will want to do is to add some finishing touches to this, align it nicely. And what we can do is we can add a background. We can add a background to our canvas. So this is our canvas where the dashboard is seated. Is what we call the canvas. So I can just add some canvas. So currently it is white. I would want to, add some color to it. See how it will look. So that is the canvas, and then I would also change the wallpaper. Sorry. So let me select this color for my canvas, and let me also change the wallpaper. Let me also change the wallpaper to which color. Let me try some of the colors and see how it will look. This is not bad. It's actually not bad, but let me try other colors and see how it will fit. So depending on your own preference, you can pick whatever color you like. Okay, I think this is fine. For my visuals, I can actually add some borders to my visuals. So let me add a visual border. This one, let me add a visual border. This, let me add visual borders to my to my visuals. Okay, so that is it. This is how we build standing dashboards in Microsoft Power BI, and I hope you have learned a lot in this video. So let me actually, these colors have added to these are not actually fine. So let me edit this in. So with my slicer, the slider, let me add a color to the slider, and that is fine. And then I want to change the background to something else, perhaps blue, and then the font color of this should be white. That's fine. And I'll do same for this. Font color should be white, and the background color should be this deep blue. That is a lot better. And so what I'm doing is just adding some finishing touches to my dashboard. So you can always edit it based on your preference. Let me resize this nicely. Let me resize this nicely. Okay, so that they are aligned. So we have all of these. In our data. So what you just covered in this video is the fundamentals, everything you need to get started with Power BI. Now some of the things that are advanced that we haven't covered in this video are advanced DAX formulas and then time intelligence with DAX. We haven't covered those in this video, but we'll be covering them soon. So I would like you to be on the lookout for my new Power BI videos. So thank you so much for this time that I had with you. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you have learned a lot. Kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then share with your friends. And then I'll see you in the next video.